Hello friends, thank you for watching this video. I am Mohamad and today we're going to be continuing our journey and exploring .NET 7 Preview 4. We're going to discover today, or basically experiment today, with routing grouping, self-documenting API, as well as multiple return types when it comes to minimal API. And we're going to do some refactoring on some existing minimal API that we already have. This is really exciting. So please join me in this video. As well, like, share and subscribe if you like it. It will really help the channel. Now, let's get started. We're gonna start looking at other features that .NET 7 Preview 4 provides. And some of these main features are gonna be basically, as we can see here, the returning multiple types within multiple minimal APIs. That's gonna be the first thing that we're gonna be implementing. As well, the second one is how we can actually utilize the self-documenting API. And lastly, we're going to see how we can actually utilize route grouping when it comes to these minimal APIs. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking the application that we have already started before and we have implemented filtering on, and we're going to be basically doing some refactoring and then updating it from there in order for us to actually implement these new features. It's going to be a step-by-step guide, so let's get started. So the first thing we need to do is we need to actually get this repository. So if you don't have it already, what you can do is you can go to my GitHub. If you don't follow me on GitHub, please follow me there. So once you go into my GitHub page, you go to repositories, and once you go to repositories, you can either see it here, .NET 7 minimal APIs dash filter. If you don't see it on top, all you need to type in the search is minimal API. And once you type minimal API, you're gonna see it's gonna be the first one that's gonna appear there. So once you click on it, all you need to do is just take the code and check it out locally. So that's what we're gonna be doing right now. So we're gonna take the code, we're gonna open our terminal. So once we open our terminal, what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna navigate to where we wanna have the application. So we're just gonna go to work in progress, and we're gonna create a new folder. We're gonna call it .NET 7 Preview 4 2, and then we're gonna navigate to it. And then once I'm in the folder here, I'm just gonna clone my application. So get the clone. Perfect. So now if I check what's inside, I just need to go to, okay. Once I have it here, what I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna be basically opening it up in Visual Studio Code. And basically here we can see that my application is here, my to-do application is here, and let's open it up. And I can see that I have my startup.cs here, which is what I want. I have my filters being added, which is exactly what I wanted from last time, which I basically created last time. I can see here that I have some my JWTs. Basically I have here the filtration that I have added last time. Okay, great. All of these are exactly where they should be. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open a terminal. So we're gonna go to terminal, new terminal. I'm gonna navigate to my application. And once I do that, all I'm gonna do right now is just .NET build to make sure that the application is building as it should be. Okay, perfect. The application is building and it's running. So first thing, let's do just do .NET run. So make sure the application is running. Okay, perfect. So now that the application is running, the next step is let's go back to our web browser. So we're gonna open a new tab, and it's gonna be local. Let's see what's the URL. It's not 5000, it's 5295. So let's put 5295. And we can see here right now we have our basically Swagger interface, so we can actually interact with our application. So all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to log in. I think the username was, let's check it here. I think we did it last time, it was hard-coded. Yeah, so let's copy this. And let's take this password. And let's execute it. And we can see we got here basically the JWT token. So let's copy this. And what we're going to be doing is we're just going to make sure it's running and we're pulling the right information out of the database. We're just going to attach this so it does not allow us. So we need to add authentication here. we'll put it's a bearer token, we'll pass the JWT, click on authorize, click on close, and now execute. And we can see here that we got the responses back. So this is exactly the behavior that we want to achieve. So now we can actually verify that the application is running, and we are actually able to basically extract information from it. The first thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to start doing some refactoring. And while we're doing this refactoring, we're going to be comparing the outcome that's going to basically coming from this refactor and from the existing endpoints that we have. And then we're going to see how we can actually implement some of this new feature within .NET 7 Preview 4. So let's get started. So the first thing that we're going to be doing is, after we have basically make sure it's running, let's stop the application. And basically if we go all the way to the end, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be actually starting to map all of these endpoints together, specifically for the CRUD operation. So we're going to separate them. We're going to actually do some optimization for the CRUD operation, and then we're going to do some optimization for the authentications. So let's do it all the way here. So basically let's also delete whatever we don't need. So let's delete this, we don't need it. Okay, let's do a cleaning spree. So we don't need, okay, let's delete all of this. Everything commented we're gonna be removing. What else? Is there anything else? Okay, we don't need this one. Let's go. Oh, this is just documentation. Okay, everything seems to be fine. We don't need this namespace, so let's remove it. We don't need this namespace, so let's remove it. And I think that should be fine. Okay, just before we do anything, let's do a .NET build. Perfect, it's building as it should be. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to be creating a new class so we can group the endpoints. So that's what we're going to be doing right now. So since this is a to-do application, we're going to be calling the class to-do API version 1, just so we can actually separate them. The name does not really matter. We're just calling it like this so we can actually know the differences. So we're going to make it basically a static class. I'm going to call it to-do API v1. Just, again, it doesn't really matter. And then basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to have public static I endpoint root builder. We're gonna make map CRUD CRUD to do API, and basically this is gonna be this dot I endpoint route builder. And once we have done that, we're just gonna call it routes. And what we need to do is we need to return routes. So what is this? And why do we need this? So in essence, what we're going to be doing here, as you're going to see, is basically we have here a method which basically take endpoint route builders, and basically you can see this is we have allocated this keyword here, and basically it returns also an I endpoint route builders. So what do they mean? So in essence, what we're trying to do is we're basically, if we go up to the existing implementation, let's check it out. We can see here that basically what we're doing is for every single map, we can see that the information that is taken, which is route handler builder, it's basically we're having like some kind of an endpoint builder which is allowing us to utilize the map get, map post, map put, map patch, and all of that is of type route handler builder. And all of those are already being integrated within my builder.build, which is going to be the app here. So as soon as I click app dot, I can utilize every single service that I want in order for me to do a get, post, put, and patch, so on and so forth. So because right now I don't have really access to the app builder from here, what I can utilize is I can utilize the interface, which is going to be the I endpoint route builder. And because I can utilize that interface, what I can do is I can utilize, after I utilize it, I can inject it back to the middleware in order for my app to know exactly what it does, and I can actually have it there inside my pipeline. So instead of having it directly attached to the app builder, what I can do is I can utilize this I endpoint route builder. I can build all of my routes separately, and then once I'm satisfied with them and I know they are working the way they should be, I can inject them back inside my middleware in order for them to be actually work. So let's see how we can do this. So that's why here what we are doing is we are basically creating this method here, and we can see that I have my endpoint route builder. This is what I'm gonna be returning because that's what the app is expecting. So let's go back and let's hover over it so we can see it. So if you see here, it is basically returning an endpoint route builder, and basically this is what the app is expecting. And basically what I can do here is I can send multiple routes. I don't have to only send one. That's why it's very easy for me to attach multiple routes at here. So as we can see here, I'm returning this, and basically this is gonna the reason I'm doing it this endpoint route builder routes, because this request is gonna be coming through the middleware. It's gonna check my method, it's gonna take all of the endpoints that I have, and then it's going to put them back inside the middleware. So this is really important for us to understand. So the process of a middleware, how it works, is going to come through it, it's going to check this method, it's going to take all of the endpoints from there, it's going to attach them to the application while it's running, and basically it's going to continue the processing of the middleware. So it's really important for us to understand this concept. If you don't really know how middlewares work, I'm gonna attach here somewhere and in the description video where I can go explain much more in depth how middlewares works. But for now, this is what we need to do. So once we have done that, the first item is we need to do, let's add some documentation here so we know. So in essence, this is a static method which will attach to the middleware to send, or basically to add the endpoints. So now what we're going to be doing is we're going to be starting adding the endpoint. Start adding the endpoints. So that's going to be the first step. So as we can see here from our CRUD operations, there's going to be, let's see, there's going to be one map get, post, there's going to be another get, and they're going to be output. So basically another delete. So we have 5 endpoints that we're going to having for the CRUD operation, and we're going to have one for the login. So we're going to do the 5 CRUD operation, then we're going to do the login. So here, let's start one by one. So as we said, because we have this route building coming from our middleware, so we can build it using it, so we can put routes. And basically from here, what I can do, I can just type map. And since I'm going to be working on the get, so I can see map get. And if we look at it from the documentation, it asks us what is the pattern that this needs to match to. And I'm going to say for now, it's going to be, because we already have, let me go back to my web browser. We already have here this directly /items. So in order for us to make this a bit different, I'm going to put version 1 items, just a way for us to separate these endpoints, because we cannot have items and items again. So we're going to put the new ones version 1, and the old ones we're going to keep them as items. And once I have that, what I'm going to do is I need to create a new method which is basically going to represent everything that I'm going to do inside this item. So I'm going to call it get all items. 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 I cannot type this morning. And once I do that, so once I have created this, now I need to create this method. And this method will going to be public static, and it's gonna make it async, and we're gonna basically have a task return, and we're gonna return an OK we're gonna return an OK of type list of item if everything is correct in the right way that we want them. And we're gonna be returning, actually let's return this for now, and we're gonna call this get all items, and it's not gonna take any parameters except the API DB contacts, because this is how we are able to connect to our database. And once we have all of that, we're just gonna have to return. So it's gonna be simple return typed result dot okay, and basically what we're gonna do is await db dot items dot to list async, and not t, it's to list async. and we're gonna put a semicolon here, and that should be it. So let's see what we have done here. So first of all, as we said, we have created this method, and this method, let's make sure it's closed properly, because this can be a little bit confusing. So item is closed here, list is closed here, and we need to close this here. Okay, so this is not happy now. Why is not happy? We need to add the HTTP result. That's fine. Okay, so let's see what we have done here. So the first thing that we have done here is basically we have created a new method, and we're gonna call it, this is the get all method. And basically once we have created this method, we basically return a task because it's an async request. We're returning OK because that's the HTTP that we want of type 200, and we're returning inside this OK a list of all of the items. And basically we're passing here the API DB context in order for us to be utilized. And this basically here, the API DB context is going to be injected automatically for us through dependency injection, so we don't have to really worry about that. And basically what we're doing is we're returning here a typed result, and basically this is a fact. It's a basically I want to say a child of iResult, or basically an implementation of iResults, where we can actually utilize this OK response in order for us to actually put all of the information there. So once we have done that, we can see right now that our application is happy. And what we can do is let's run it and let's see the differences that's actually showing up inside our Swagger file. So I'm gonna put .NET run. And now since it's running, let's go back to our web browser. Let us refresh this. And it's not showing. Why? And this is the main reason that I wanted to run it, because basically although we have created it here, we did not attach this yet to our middleware. And right now, although we have this functionality here, the middleware will not know that there is a new endpoint that it needs to take into consideration. So let's see how we can do that. So it's very simple. All we need to do is just go here before the actually app.run, and we're gonna put app.use, what did we call it? What did we call this method? We called it map CRUD to do API. So let's copy this name, and we're gonna put map CRUD to do API, and it's gonna be something like this. So basically, in essence here, we can see that it's automatically recognized that this is an endpoint route builder. So it's automatically know that it's going to attach it to our middlewares. So once we have done that, now let's stop the application and run it again. Let's come here and let's refresh. Let's go to our web browser and let's refresh this. And we can see here that automatically we have basically our new endpoint section has automatically show up. We can see that it automatically has the name of to-do API version 1, which is the name of the class. And we can see that our endpoint has automatically been populated. If we go down here, we can see that basically we have the accept header, which is JSON, which does not accept anything. And we can see a sample of the return type that we're having. And basically, if we compare it to the one that we currently have, we can see it's almost the same. So here we can see that we don't accept a parameter, the response is 200 of a success, and we have basically the same output. So that's exactly what we wanted to do. We can see right now that we have another way to define endpoints, but we're gonna be continuing, and we can see how we can actually utilize the different, we're gonna add the four pending endpoint right now, and we're going to be seeing the main differences and the main enhancement that .NET 7 Preview 4 has brought to us. So since now we have finished the first one, which is going to be the get all, we're going to be continuing and adding the rest of these endpoints as we said. So the second one is also going to be of type get, so it's going to be routes .map get, and also we're going to give it the same path. We're going to change it. It's going to be basically / version 1 items, and we're going to be passing here an ID because we're going to get a single item what we want, so we're going to put ID. Okay, once we have done that, we're going to put a comma and we're going to put get item. Very simple. And now what we're going to be doing is we need to actually implement this method, but something we want to focus here. So if I send a request to the API, and I told, okay, listen to me API, I want you to get me this item. The API have two options to return to me. It's either gonna find this item and send it back to me, or it's not gonna find this item. It's basically not found. So what I'm gonna be doing here inside my response, what I'm gonna be doing is I'm gonna give it the option to actually return either. So if it's a find the item, it's gonna return for me the actual file, the actual item that I need. If it doesn't find it, it's gonna return to me not found. So let's see how we can implement that. So I'm gonna put public static async task, and basically the first thing is in case I find my item, so we're gonna have an okay, or actually we're gonna have a result, and basically inside this result I'm gonna be returning an okay, and inside this okay, basically, okay, let's make, because this gets a bit complicated, so let's do it like this. So first of all, I created a task, I close it, and then I have a result, I open it and I close it, and inside this result I have an okay, and for this okay I have an item, so that's exactly what I want, and this is the expected one that I need. And then the other one is I'm just gonna put this here. If I don't have an item, I'm gonna return a not found. Okay, and I'm gonna call this get item, and this get item is gonna take an API DB context, as well it's gonna take an ID which is gonna be of type int. Very simple. What I'm gonna be doing here right now is I'm gonna basically creating the logic for it, and based on that logic excuse me, I'm gonna be either returning the actual item or a not found. So how do I do that? We can just do return await db dot items. We can do, for example, first or default. We can do some lambda function x.id equal id. So that's basically what we're doing is we're going to the database, telling it get me the first item that you find that has the same matching ID. If you don't find anything, return for me a null. And we're just telling it this is as item, and we're giving it the name item just for now. And what we're gonna be doing is if this is null, what we're doing is okay, this is going to be in the wrong order, so is not as, it's going to be is. And what we're going to be, if it is null, what we're going to be doing is typed result, and we're gonna dot okay, and we're gonna return the item. So it's not null, we are able to find this. Else we're returning a typed result dot not found. Okay, why is this not happy? So let's see, the item does not go. Okay, oh, forgot to make async. Okay, this should work right now. So what are we doing here? So in essence, we're actually connecting to our DB context. We're getting, we're telling the DB context, get me the ID that's matched the ID that I'm passing here. If you actually match this ID, we need to put it inside an item object, and we're gonna call this variable an item. And basically, once we have done that, we're checking the value of item. So if the value of item is not null, we're actually returning it inside an OK. If it is null, what we're doing, we're just returning not found. So as simple as that. So let's save this, and let's stop the application, and let's run it again. And right now you can see that I did not have to re-add my integration with the middleware, because I have already added on the main level there. So let me add my password. And let's go back to our web browser, and if I refresh this, I can see here that I have two methods here instead of one, and we can see here that I have the items here. And one of the main things that I really want to focus our attention here, and I'm gonna compare them. So this is the old one. We can see it's just take an ID, and it gives me the response of type 200. That's it. But with the new implementation, I can see that I have the old one, which is takes an ID, And we can see that there is two types of if response that I might get, and this is gonna make the life of the developer very easy, because I can actually know what type of expectation they're gonna be receiving back from the API. So here we can see that the first response that I might get is a success, and this is gonna be the type of response they're gonna be getting. And the second one, they're gonna be getting the not found because they did not pass the right ID. So let's try this out. Again, I need to log in. So let us log in. So because this I haven't implemented this yet. Actually, what I can do, I don't really need to log in here because I did not implement the authorize, which is this very good thing. So let me get all of the IDs here. You can see I have 2, 4, 6. So let's utilize the ID number 4. And here, get single item. Let's click on try it out. I'm gonna put 4. I'm gonna click on execute, and I got basically the ID exactly that I wanted. But if I changed ID 4 to ID, for example, 88, and I click on execute, basically I got an error not found because it wasn't able to find it. And that's exactly the thing that we needed to implement. Great. So now that we have implemented 2 out of the 5, let's continue. So let me stop the application. And basically the next step is we're going to be implementing is the post. So it's going to be route dot map post, and then basically it's going to be /v1 /items, as simple as that. And basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to be calling it create item. Okay, great. So now let's go back here and let's do it from here. So we're gonna put public static async task. Again, open it, close it. That's the really important thing. We're gonna basically put results, open it, close it again. We're gonna put OK, open it, close it again. We're gonna send the item. And this is gonna be the first thing. So the result, if we actually able to add it, we're gonna return the item back. If not, we're gonna return a bad request. And we're gonna call this similar to what we have called the create item. And basically this is gonna take, the first thing is gonna take an API DB context. I'm gonna call it DB. It's gonna take an int for the ID, and it's gonna return an item for the body. And if we look here back to the existing post, where is it? So this is the current existing post. We can see it actually has the same thing. So basically we're taking the /items, we're taking the API. Oh, we don't really need the IDs because we're gonna just copy this. And basically what we're doing is we're just checking, and then we're adding it in case it fits. But we can see here also that we have already added a filter last time, and this is what we're going to be adding right here. So let's copy this, add filter, and if we go down here, it's going to be very simple to add a filter here, because all we need to do is just after we do the map post, we close the parentheses, we're just gonna add the same filter that we have added before. So in essence, if we click here, we can see that we have all of the implementation that we have before exists available for us here. So we can see that we can directly add our filters here, and we can actually directly utilize them. So I don't have to do to redo the work, which is great. Excuse me. So now let us build this method. So what we're going to be doing is, let's first remove this one because we did not have it on the old one. All I'm going to do, tell you what, let's copy paste it and then modify it. It's going to be easier. So let's copy this, all of this, copy, and let's go down, and let's paste this here, and let's make it look nice. Okay, so instead of results here, we're gonna return a typed result, and that should return a bad request. And what we're doing is, this is fine. And lastly, if everything goes to plan and we are able to add it, what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be return typed result dot okay, and we're gonna be basically not okay, we're gonna be returning the created, And what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be putting the $sign. We're gonna return the path for it. So it's gonna be version1 / items / the items ID. So it's gonna be items .id. Here we are utilizing string concatenation, and we're gonna pass the item. And here what we can do, instead of return this created, we can, instead of okay, we can create created, which is better. So I think that's a very good implementation. So what we have here is basically we're having two options. So if the item has been created successfully, we're returning a created HTTP endpoint, which is going to be of type HTTP 201. And then if not, we're returning a bad request. So the bad request is basically if the ID already exists, we don't want to recreate it. But if the ID does not exist, we are able to add this item. It's very simple. And basically also what we have done is we have attached the filter from that we have created previously, which is also really good. So that's here, and basically let us stop the application and let's run it again. And now that it's running, let's go to our web browser. Refresh this, and we can see here that we have our post. And let me get basically all of the items. So try it out, execute. I got all of my results. I'm gonna take this one, number 4. I'm gonna copy it. I'm gonna go to the post, try it out. I'm just gonna paste it as it is. And now because this already exists, I should receive a bad request. And one thing that I would like to mention here, that also we can see here that inside my responses, I can see that it's telling me you can expect a 201 if everything goes to plan, or you can receive a 400 bad request if you did something wrong, which basically we're sending the wrong ID. So let's try this. And for this, I'm expecting to have a bad request because this already exists. So let's check it out. And as we can see here, I got a bad request because basically the ID already exists. So let me change this ID from 4 to, I don't know, 5. I'm gonna add watch movies. We're gonna say The Matrix. And I'm gonna put execute. And we can see here, because I already added this, because this ID does not exist, I got a 201 as well as I got the response back with my object, which is exactly what I wanted, and this is the exact behavior that I needed. And all of that has happened because it went through my filter, because it actually validated my item which was coming in, which is great. So now that we have added this, there's also 2 left to go. And basically what we're gonna be doing right now is let's add them. So the next one, it's gonna be, actually let's stop the application first. And here we're gonna put route dot map put. We're gonna put /v1 / items / id. Okay, that should be fine. And then we're gonna say here update item. I think what we're gonna be doing is also let's add the same filter. We'll add it manually right now. Add filter. We're gonna say validation filter. We're gonna put item. We're gonna close it, add the parentheses, and that's it. So now we need to create this method here, update item. So let's go down, and basically what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna put public static async task. Also for this, what we're gonna be returning is, first of all, if the updates worked as it should be, we'll have to return a no content because basically we have updated it. And if the update failed, or for any reason it did not execute the way we are expecting it to execute, we're returning not found, because basically if we're trying to update a record and it's not there, we want to return back to the user who called the API that, okay, so this object that you're trying to update, it does not exist, not found. We can discuss about this. We can return bad requests. There's a lot of discussion we can have around this, but for now we're just going to return no content, and we're going to be returning not found. So we're going to put results. Again, I forgot to do my own rule. So results, we have to open it, close it, and then from within the results we either gonna return no content, as we said, if it's successful, and we're gonna be return not found if something is not found. We're gonna pass this here, and then basically here what we're gonna passing is the API DB context. We're gonna be passing the item, and we're gonna be passing the ID. So let's check this right now. Oh, we didn't put DB here, excuse me. Okay. And now what we're gonna be doing is, let us just copy it. Why do we have to rewrite it all over again? So this is the delete. This is the put, so let's copy this. And we'll modify it instead of having to rewrite it. Okay, let's make it look pretty. Okay, so here we're saying, so instead of results, we're returning a typed results. And instead of bad request, we're returning not found. And here, instead of returning the okay, what we're doing is typed result. We're gonna return no content. I think that is fair enough. So basically we're checking if the item already exists or not. If not, we're returning not found. Else we're just updating it and saving all of the changes into the database. Straightforward. So once we have done that, let us stop the application. It's already stopped. Let's run it again. Add our password. Once we have done that, let's go to the web browser, just refresh. Great, we can see now I have my put here. I'm just gonna take any item from here. I'm gonna update this one because it's empty. And let's go to the put and try it out. I'm gonna add the ID. First of all, let me put this here. I'm gonna say I wanna update the ID 6, and instead of an empty, I'm gonna say here, eat pizza, which is really important in life. And once I have here, I'm gonna just click execute, and basically I can see that I got the 204, which is basically the no content, because it was able to actually update my content for me. And for example, let's say I wanna have this, and let's update this to 33, for example. We don't like the number 33, so 44, and if we put 44, and if I click on execute, now I should receive not found because I don't have an ID here, and we can see I have a receive not found, which is perfect, exactly the behavior that I'm expecting. So let's stop this. And once we have done all of that, the next one is gonna be the delete. So what we can do is, let's check how we did the delete here. So map get, map put, and basically for the delete, we're just only expecting an items with the ID. And this is what we're gonna be doing right now. So let's copy this. And it's gonna be basically, first of all, what we need to do is we need to add it here. I'm gonna put routes dot map delete. It's gonna be /v1. Oops, we don't need this, so let's remove this, and we don't need this, and need this. And we're gonna say this here is gonna be delete item. Simple as that, nothing else. We're gonna copy this name, and we're gonna say public static async task. And for the delete, first let's close it. Result, and open and close. So we can say here that, what can we return? Let's return no content. Let's return no content. Let's do the same thing, and we can say not found as well, just for now. Delete the item. It's going to require an API DB context, DB, and int ID. As simple as that. And let's copy the same implementation that we had before. No need to rewrite the wheel. Okay, let's copy this and go all the way to the end, paste it, make it look pretty. So this is gonna be typed result. We're returning no, not found. And here we have typed results. We're returning no content. Okay, perfect. Let's check this out. So let's go back to let's run it again. Okay, let's add the password. Let's go to our web browser and let's do a refresh. And we can see here that we have the 5 CRUD operation ready for us to utilize. Great, and we have the delete, put, get, post, and get. So now that we have done this for the CRUD operation, what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna do the same thing, but right now we're gonna be doing for the authentication. And we can see here that how it started to look way better by actually having all of the endpoints that belong together in a single class, and we can actually basically utilize them from there. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be creating a new class right now for the authentication. It's going to be public class, actually, yeah, it's going to be static class. We're going to call it to do authentication. I think that's a valid name. Let's put this here. We're gonna put public class, public static. And again, here we need to actually, because we're basically creating a new a new section, and this new section is gonna be solely responsible for authentication. We're gonna have to integrate with the middleware so it will know about it again. So it's not gonna be part of the CRUD. It's unique section, so we need to actually utilize the route default builder. What is it called? The endpoint route builder interface in order for us to actually integrate it to the endpoint, to the middleware. So that's what we're going to be doing. So it's going to be endpoint route builder. We're going to call this what are we going to call this? Add or map authentication for API, and it's going to take this because we're basically injecting it into the middleware, and from the middleware we can actually utilize it. And we're going to have the endpoint route builder. We're going to call it routes, and what we're going to do is return routes. Perfect. So if we look at the implementation that we currently have for authentication, which is this one here, we can see that it's a post basically, and it takes accounts login for us to authenticate. Okay, so that seems pretty straightforward. So let's do this here, similar to what we have done before. We're gonna put routes.map post, and we're gonna put, because we need to separate it, v1 accounts login, and we're gonna say here login, as simple as that. And now we need to create this login method. So it's gonna be public static async, and we're gonna be returning task, open and close, and we're gonna return results, open and close, and we're gonna be basically returning an OK with a string. Basically it's gonna be the JWT token, and if it didn't go through, what we're gonna be returning is unauthorized HTTP request. But HTTP result basically is telling us that you cannot log in because the credentials that you have provided are invalid. And we're gonna call this login. And in essence, what we need to do is we need to make sure that the parameters that we're expecting is correct. So I think we're utilizing the user DTO. So let's check up here what we're passing. Okay, we're passing the user DTO, so that's exactly what we want to do. So let's copy this, and so we can just utilize it again. Copy. And we're gonna put the user DTO. I'm gonna call it user. Let's paste this. And let's utilize this. And let's make it look pretty again. So all of this we have to embed it in. And what else? This is too much. Okay, let's go back. Okay, so this should be fine. Again, this is all cosmetics. It's not gonna affect, but if it looks good, it works good. Okay, so let's do this like this. Okay, so let's start fixing these. So here, instead of having an OK result, we said we're gonna be returning a typed result. And here we're gonna also be returning type result for unauthorized. Exactly the same thing. The next item here is we need to actually fix this. And here, if we go all the way up, where is it? We're relying on the builder. And the builder, because it's inside the same flow of the application, we are able to directly utilize this builder here, which we have created previously, which is this one. We are able to directly utilize it. But because we are in a different class essentially, and we are trying to inject this, we cannot really use the builder mechanism here. No matter how hard we want to, it does not work. Excuse me. So what we need to utilize here is something called the configuration interface, because basically this configuration interface will allow us to utilize the key value pairs which exist inside our app settings. This is and because we know it's going to be automatically injected for us through dependency injection, we are able to actually utilize it instead of relying on the builder. So all I need to do is just add this configuration here, paste it here, paste it here, paste it here, and basically I'm able right now to connect to my app settings in order for me to read the configuration from there. Very simple, very straightforward. And now what I need to do is, I'm not going to do the same mistake as before and forget to add it, so I'm going to add it right now. So let's copy this name and let's go all the way up, all the way up, all the way up, all the way up. Where is it? Where is it? Here. So instead of having this by itself, I'm going to be map authentication APIs. And right now, if I run my application, I input the password, I go to my web browser, refresh, I can see here that my to-do authentication is here, I have my login here, and basically we can see now that I have separation of concerns. So I have my to-do API CRUD operation by itself, and I have my authentication by itself. So we can see here this is trying to mimic a controller behavior. So let us add a username and a password. So what is the username here? We have admin@mohamadlaman.com. So let's copy this, try it out, and let's take the password, put it here, and let's execute, and we should receive a JWT token. And we can see here that we have received a JWT token. Perfect. Now let me put any other password. I should receive an unauthorized, which is gonna be unauthorized request. So let's execute, and we can see here that I have received a 401 unauthorized because basically my credentials were not correct. Perfect. Great. So now that I have this, which is basically very great implementation, I was able to basically utilize everything that I needed from basically I converted to have a list of all of the endpoints together to basically to be able to separate them into logical into do different section, one for the CRUD, one for the authentication. But there's still some stuff that I would like to add. So for example, I need to make first of all my endpoints that I have just created them, I need to make them secure, because currently we don't have any types of authentication against them. So if we look here, I don't have any types of authentication, and if I go back to my web browser, I can just do any calls without even have to pass any of my tokens, because it does not ask me to be authenticated, which is not good. So how can I do that? Very simple. Because this is a, as we said, it's a route builder, what I can do is as simple as I can hit require authorization. And because I added require authorization, let's try it on this one. Let's stop the application and let's run this again. And let's go here and let's refresh this. So right now I don't have any JWT token, but if I click on try it out and execute, I'm going to receive a 401 because I did not pass the right authorization. On the other hand, if I try to, for example, get here, try it out, this one I did not implement it. If I put the ID 5, I'm able to receive the results because there is no authorization required. So that's how we can add authentication authorization. But before we continue with this, one of the new features which has been introduced is, let's go back here so we can check it out, is route grouping. And this is something that's really exciting because it allows us to have much better control on our routes. So we can see here that I have V1, 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 which is actually very repetitive, and basically having all of this here is basically gonna make it hard for me down the road if I want to update this, if I want to do any changes. It's all basically manual work, and this is right now very simple because I only have 5 endpoints. But imagine if our API grows and grows, I don't want to have to do this work all manually. So with basically the map grouping that actually, or route grouping that's actually provided for me, I'm able to actually have all of this available to me outside of the box. So let's see how we can do that. So all I need to do is I need to go where I added those to the middleware. So it's going to be here. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Okay, here. So all I need to do, if we look at it, all I need to do is I need to put dot map group, and inside the map group I'm just gonna put the prefix that I want to pass, so version 1, and this is for the CRUD builder. So right now, for example, if I delete v1 from here, I save this, so we can see here I don't have v1 anymore on my endpoints, but I have added it to my main route builder. So if I click stop the application and run it again, and I go to my web browser and I refresh this, oh not this one, I refresh this, I can see that v1 has automatically been attached to my calls without actually having to go manually through every single one of them and add it. So again, let's say I want to change it from v1 to v1a, or no, for example. Again, let's run it again. One place I added it. Let me come here, let me refresh this. And we can see here v1a is basically the path, which is really good. So since we have already done this here, let's add it as well to my authentication one. So dot map group as well, /v1, and let's save this, and let's go down to my authentication and let me remove this v1 from here. I don't really need it. So the last item that also we want to add is basically the authorization. So as we can see here, if we go all the way down, where is it? What we have done here is we have added required authorization for every single one. So basically the goal was here to add this, to copy, and in order for us to make all of these endpoints basically secure, we needed to add these here. And basically this is one way of doing it. But another way to actually do it is actually a bit more straightforward, is if we delete all of this, and if I go back all the way up to I have added my mapping here, and before I add this, if I press on dot and I put require authorization, right now all of my endpoints within the map to do API is going to require authorization. So we can see here the main benefits that this new feature within .NET 7 Preview 4 has introduced. It allowed me to basically reduce the amount of work that I need to do. It allowed me to actually group my endpoints together and have better control over them. It allowed me to basically have some of the benefit of having a controller inside my minimal API, and this is really powerful. And this is only the start of authorization also on the grouping for .NET 7. There's going to be a lot of new feature more added, and there's going to be a lot of enhancement coming down the line, and this is very exciting. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. It will really help the channel. If you have any questions, please put them in the description down below, and the comments down below, excuse me. And if you have any suggestion for new videos, also please put them down there. I'm really excited about .NET 7 and all of the benefits that's gonna be coming with it. So again, please like, share, and subscribe, and have a great day.